Hot Water History, episode 208. Got a special guest Tuesday night. Richard, who do we got?
The great, the one and only, although he's been here on here four times now. This is the fourth episode. We're so blessed and delighted to have the one, the only Trevor Alcorn with us from Tridentine Brewing. Trevor, what's happening, man?
Not too much besides from work and children and a new baby and new
Yes.
new beer and being here in Illinois finally for beer. So just a lot going on, Gary. And so yeah, I'm really happy to be on here for I don't know, maybe I'm the record-setting
You
guest
are.
now on
You
Hot
are.
Water History. So
Yeah, yeah.
number four.
Beers, babies, Battlestar Galactica.
That's right.
So, do you want, let's spill the beads to the general audience. You have yet another addition to the Alcorn family. Tell us about beautiful baby Ambrose.
Yeah. So, baby number six was born on Valentine's or St. Valentine's Day, and so he's a couple months old now. But he's a the third boy. So we have three boys, three girls, and our first baby that is not a 19th or 20th century saint or on the way to being a saint, at
Mhm.
least with the naming convention that we've got going right now for the children. So, yeah, Ambrose was I think very fitting and quite a powerful example. I know that you've got a devotion to him as well, Gary, for sure. And so yeah, I'm sure that he'll have a great patron to look up to in life here. So yeah, that's been my life recently, of course, long nights and short sleep. And so just just a lot of time with the baby recently. So that's been really great. And recently went back to work after my paternity leave. So a fun adjustment there, but surviving so far, which is good.
Excellent. Now, did you go back in time in order? Because I know you have Fulton, so that's pretty close. And then it was Gianna next, or what was it? How did it go all?
Yeah, yeah. So it was Fulton, Gianna, Zita, which I guess you could argue is an earlier saint name, but I mean we
Mm,
named her after Empress Zita.
hmm
So Zita, Augustus after Augustus Tolton, and
hmm
then we have Francesca, which is after Saint Francis Xavier Cabrini,
hmm
and then of course Ambrose.
Beautiful names. Well chosen. You guys did a good job.
Oh, thank you. I have been swirling in the back of my mind always, Braxton,
Oh, yeah.
Jacksons, and
Oh,
all this
stop
other
it.
stuff, and I'm like, okay, can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to
That's
be a
brutal.
good Catholic name for sure.
Yeah.
Saint name.
Reminds me of the Seinfeld episode when, of course, George is adamant about naming his kid Seven after Mickey Mantle. And Jerry goes, what kind of name is that? What, were you just choosing things out of the cupboard? He goes, how about Mug Costanza?
It does seem like that whenever I go past the billboards at a couple of the local hospitals. I look at some of the names and they're very creative. That's all I can say because
Yes.
usually it's something I've never heard before or
All
it's
right.
a weird variation spelling wise of a normal name. So
So, because no one wants to wait until, actually, they just want to wait until the moment they have a child to really usher out and make public their immense creativity. So, we're just going to make up an entirely new name and show the true lack of imagination and taste that's actually present.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Hmm.
hopefully for some of them they can actually make it a saint name, right? But I think
Oh, that's well said.
otherwise, they're trailblazing. They don't have anyone to look up to. So yeah.
And there goes Trevor again with his piety and patience with other people, making me look like a jerk.
That was very profound. I like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I sound very profound here, but I look at the names and I just shake my head. I go, "Why?" Sorry,
Yeah.
Charlie.
You didn't have any temptation with Ambrose, just name him Kankakee Alcorn or something like that?
No, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if we get past 10 or something like that and I start running out of name ideas, don't tell my wife. I don't think that she's thinking we'll get to 10 or something like that. But yeah, we'll see if we get anything really crazy here.
As long as you don't take Charlie's, if he ever procreates and has a male child, he's gonna be El Paso Westerman. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, really, Charlie? You
Different
got it
names of
done?
towns. Yeah.
Martinez. Martinez
Yeah,
Lexus.
Martinez or do Santiago since we're gonna move there to
Oh,
Chile,
yeah.
Santiago Westerman. That sounds kind of tough. It's pretty tough.
Yeah.
No one's gonna mess with Santiago Westerner.
Oh,
No one.
That'd be a good
So,
one.
so all right. What else is new other than baby time and
Well, since last time that I've been on, which I think was right when we launched our,
yeah.
of course, commercial brewery and or our beer line in Wisconsin, I should say, and that was October 2024. We've of course been in and around Wisconsin selling the beer, and so that's been good. And it's been as successful as my dad can spend time up there since he's our salesman and delivery guy. So
Yeah,
as
when is
long
this
as
guy
he
gonna
has the time.
delegate? Jeff's got to delegate a little bit, no?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It's one of those weird, not weird problems, but one of those problems where you need to get a certain volume of sales to justify a position,
Hmm.
but like you still need to spend a lot of time to get there. So it's like that break even point,
Yeah.
and it was tough. It's been tough with Wisconsin because of just the driving, of course. Even to get up to Wisconsin for us to the warehouse in Wisconsin and start
Hmm.
a day, it's very involved. And so now, since we are in Illinois as of about a month ago, fast forwarding a little bit to now, we finally got our Illinois license. Just went through crazy amount of course, red tape and extreme frustration. If you ever really want to hate the government, besides from just your normal paying taxes and listening to Meanwhile in Oak Park, you can really appreciate hating the government. But
We don't
certainly
we
going
love
through.
government here, Trevor.
Oh,
We
you guys
we
love the
embrace
government,
it.
right?
The,
Yes.
the state. We must love the state and respect it.
That's right. I mean, I'm sure you guys really appreciated even Obama's The Life of Julia or whatever, and
Mhm.
we're all the state or whatever
Yes.
they were saying. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, at least you'll be disabused of that when you go through the whole process for getting a license for beer anywhere.
Mhm.
At least in Illinois. Wisconsin was only 7 days for us to get our license. In Illinois, it was a year and a half.
Yep.
Um,
Sounds about right.
so
What's the progress with Indiana?
oh
Since it's
man.
relatively close.
Yeah, you know what? Right now we're holding off on Indiana, just because of the licensing amount to get into the state. It's, I think it's something like 5 grand a year, and so you need to
Wow.
assume that okay, I'm going to be able to sell more than that just to
Hmm.
justify getting the license, and so
You
hopefully
would
one
think
day
that
we will be in
you would
Indiana.
think
But
that Indiana would be a little bit more amenable to brewers, but I guess it's not. Maybe because they already have what's the plant in Munster? Is that what is that? Three Floyds?
oh, Three Floyds, yeah, they are to an extent. They're not a strict three-tier system.
Okay.
I don't believe, from what I recall. For the audience, what I mean by three-tier system is, you have your brewery, your distributors, and your stores or your restaurants, and any two can't collide. So in Wisconsin and in
Okay.
Illinois, and surprisingly, this isn't so much of a like a red or blue state thing for the most part. Illinois allows breweries to self-distribute beer,
Mm.
and so does Wisconsin. But there's a lot of other states like we've looked into. For example, Ohio. We've had a
Mm.
lot of interest from Ohio, and maybe getting out there, maybe making a run to Cincinnati or
Nice.
some of the other areas, and they are very strict three-tier in
Oh wow.
Ohio. And so
Mm.
you can't. We would have to have a distributor distribute the beer. Um, so
That's the lingering effect of the Mormons being formed there. That's the ghost of Joseph Smith.
Hey, well, we have the ghost of Joseph Smith here in Illinois, right?
I know. Ugh.
But hey, we I guess we shook
Made
him. We have
made
a
a
lot of
lot of
other problems.
stops.
Yeah.
Made a lot of stops. Yeah.
So in Illinois, at least we're finally live, and we are really focusing a lot on to the south of Chicago, where we're at. So we're near, of course, like Kankakee, Bradley, Bourbonnais, and Kankakee
Hmm.
County, and so we're putting a lot of focus on Kankakee County, on Will
Yeah.
County, and obviously we like to get to cook too.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong,
A lot of
but
people, a lot of beer drinkers.
there's a lot of beer drinkers, but my dad is kind of systematically going through and really saturating, I think, the local to us market,
Hmm.
and it's been successful so far in the sales around here, and we'll continue to make our trek to the north.
Yeah, about Indiana too. You'd think they'd have more time to devote to ensuring efficiency and allowing great brewers to sell their product in Indiana. After all that energy was taken away, I think they finally washed all the gay out of the governor's mansion since Mike Pence left. I mean, the amount of weeks that had to be spent on the closets alone, the closets were saturated, just saturated. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's one of those crazy things. A lot of these states. I know with our not that the GOP is the be all end all. I have a lot of disdain for the party in general, but I think in a lot of these states like Indiana, the party is like completely ineffective or captured to an extent by interests, and yeah, they don't really necessarily always have an interest in actually advancing
Mhm.
freedom and even though they say look, smaller government and whatnot, that's not exactly what they're always pursuing. So it seems to be the case there, at least in regards to the beer. Let me put it that way. I think
Yeah.
on some other issues too.
Trevor, man, we have a lot of educating for you to do. You just have to vote harder. That's our motto here.
That's
Vote
right.
harder, vote more often. Be dedicated to your local party precinct and make sure your alderman is doing all the best he can to lift up the downtrodden, because that's what the state has always done.
Yeah, had
Yes.
a really good track record.
Yeah. John Rawls said so in Theory of Justice. And I mean, just the veil of ignorance and everything like that, we'd all be equal, you know?
Yeah,
And that's what government attempts to accomplish, make sure everyone has equal opportunity. And that's this, and that the system's not rigged. It's just government is just an impartial referee.
that,
Charlie, this is stuff that I just read from what you write on Reddit.
Yeah,
All your Reddit stuff.
right. Well, I want to learn more. Where can people in Illinois get the beer right now?
yeah. So right now we're in yeah, mainly in Kankakee County and some in Will County. I think we've got some beer out in LaSalle, which is on I-80 as well. But it's mostly at a bunch of like smaller liquor stores and grocery stores as well as restaurants. So, for example, we've had a number of different American Legions pick up the beer, and especially our like Quartermaster Jerry, our more American patriotic beer, absolutely love it. So that's gone over really well, and some of those like the American Legions, and then a number of other restaurants more locally to Kankakee County. And so that's primarily where it's at right now. And I know that is a bit of a pain for people that are closer to Chicago.
No more painful than having to drink a patriotic beer. The beer is fantastic, but what great timing as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of the nation's founding, and we have
Yes.
this genius of great sagacity and virtue in the office of the chief executive. And with that crew of other Einsteins and Teslas that are in his administration, yeah, just paragons of morality and principle.
Yeah, you said it best, Gary, for sure.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
might as well have a whole lot of Quartermaster Jerry's and mix in a few Dias Iraes, and there's a little new beer we're gonna talk a little bit about and momentarily, are we not? And then that
Yeah.
way you're so inebriated that you're patriotic again. I love this country. I would even, if I drink enough of them, I'll start doing USA chants and singing lead. Can we share? Charlie and I have this experience. I don't know if we ever told you this. I know we shared on the podcast, but it's just so fitting. When we went out to, this is a few years ago, this is like 2021 or 2022, and we went out to South Dakota for Freedom Fest, which is just a CIA honeypot sort of thing. Not in that way, but just like attracting people who are liberty minded so that they can be doxxed by the FBI. But in any case, we used to go out there and find it to be somewhat, I don't know, enjoyable, meeting various minds on somewhat our side, but I think a lot of them are just limited hangouts in their own lives. But we went out to the Crazy Horse Monument in South Dakota, which is actually larger than Mount Rushmore, the monument itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we went out to the laser light show. You remember this, Charlie?
No, I skipped this.
Oh, you didn't go out to. Oh, that's right. You were in town, but you decided to do something cooler than what we were doing.
Yeah.
So, we went out there and they did this whole laser light show on the face of unfinished of Crazy Horse, which is huge. And then they did this whitewashing of it was incredible. I can't believe this was still presented, but like how truly patriotic and how deeply American Crazy Horse was. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, he died as he was shot fleeing from the U.S. Army in the stomach and was led to exsanguinate. And and then they played Lee Greenwood as the laser light show is showing. It's if I was Native American, I'd be looking for my tomahawk, right? It's just what this is so incongruous. And everyone's just clapping. Oh, this is wonderful. Crazy Horse was obviously he flew the red, white, and blue outside his teepee. No, he didn't. The guy was a victim of a Holocaust. I mean, what are we talking about here? That I was looking around and thinking, does anyone know anything about this man's life? Anyway,
He was Catholic though, right?
yeah. Well, I think was he or
Because
Sitting Bull was Sitting Bull was
St.
certainly
Paul. Yeah.
Sitting Bull was certainly Catholic, but yeah, I don't know if Crazy Horse converted, but yeah, he was probably still an animist, waiting
Mhm.
for the eagle god to save him. Well, another eagle got him, unfortunately. Yeah, that's what happens. But yeah, I just thought it was very weird, and people have a very odd sense. There's a lot of reasons to be patriotic, but I hope that people are patriotic for actual factual aspects rather than the mythos or the national legends that are wholly unreal and thus vapid and not worthy of being or having love for your country. Although I have to say, and I don't know, our previous two episodes and this fervor and spirit's been even more enveloping me and more alive than ever. My expatriate, get the hell out of here, maybe Athanasian impulse is to fuego, just get out of here, fugo. Not fuego, but fugo. I'm on fuego to go fugo. So and get out because yeah, I just I find it kind of repugnant and it's getting more repugnant by the day. How do you deal with that, Trevor, with exercising patriotism, which Aquinas, of course, identifies as a virtue, but how do you do that in this arena or this era?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's as you pointed out, Gary, it's not about just waving the flag and saying rah rah, whatever the government does or whatever the administration does, because really patriotism is about a love for your nation, but that doesn't mean a love for your government or the the
It's
actions
even
of your
it's even
government
harder
or
because the United States, America is not a nation per se, or
yeah,
it's
you're right.
propositional. So it's even more difficult. So what are we relying upon? The proposition that we share some sort of inherent values, some culture that is identifiably American. And is there anything left? It's certainly not an adherence to free markets. It's not in any way a respect or deference to the principles of liberty, which is really just property rights over one's body, one's property rightly gained, your
Yes.
homestead or what have you. That's all eviscerated to the point where, yes, of course, the government, but the government it's a response to the culture, which has allowed those values to become so distant or unrealized. So that it's just a reflection of that permissiveness. And then you get into, I mean, can you have a land of the free, of the home of the brave with a Federal Reserve? I mean, and or can you have a land of the free, a home of the brave with a CDC or an FBI or a CIA? And the problem is that the assault on those freedoms and liberties, which are supposed to be inherently American, which are not, but it's as though the assault on that has it's one thing if those values were degraded domestically, but that attack has just seeped outward to the empire and the very notion of having an American empire. We were supposed to be this plucky nation that emerged from the great tyranny and despotism of the British. And what are we doing? We have an empire that's far more vast and far more insidious and criminal than the British could even imagine. And that is saying something. And that is saying something. Charlie, I saw your face. You grimaced at one point.
Yeah. I was just laughing because you asked Trevor a question and then he like started to answer it. And then you just went into like the whole history of the United States. I just thought it was funny.
I'm sorry. I'm stepping on your toes, Trevor.
Hey, this is the Hot Water History
No,
podcast.
I
I'm
know, but
just
you're a guest.
I'm just saying, like I don't even remember what Trevor was talking about. How did we get to how did we get to Crazy Horse?
Because I told that story about wrongly guided patriotism or mythical patriotism, and but that was aligned with what we were talking about the government and the state beforehand, the, right? And then we launched into we're going to finally get into the beer now. This is what's called a transition, Charlie. So
It was a little bumpy.
it
But
was
I want to hear
because
Trevor.
I'm carrying all the weight here.
I want to hear Trevor talk about the new beer and the expansion in Illinois.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
well, you know
All right,
what?
let's get to the new beer.
Yeah, well, Gary's really repping the new beer actually really well because it's right behind his shoulder. So the audience gets to hear it here first on the Hot Water History podcast for what we're doing with the new beer, which, as you can see from right behind Gary, it's Sacred Flame. The beer itself is a little bit different. It's not a red IPA, it's an Imperial Red Ale. And so the genesis of this is late last year. We were getting a lot of feedback from retailers and others saying, "Hey, when's the next beer coming? We love what you're doing. What's next in the lineup?" And so we went to work on thinking about, okay, what should we do, and what have we already brewed successfully? Because all of our beers aren't just we come up with an idea and then we just outsource it to someone else to create the recipe. Like it's something we've done before and that we love. And so we're looking at our catalog and we absolutely loved our Imperial Red Ale, which was actually after Empress Zeta. It was called Impressive. um,
We've had it,
but
Charlie. Remember?
Yeah, it's really good.
yeah,
Intoxicating in all the right ways.
yes, it's awesome. And to your point, Gary, you have some of those, and you will be chanting USA and waving the flag
Yeah,
in
what's
no
the
time.
ABV on that bad girl?
It's 10%. So
Oh.
All right. I'm proud to
um,
be an American. Or at least I know I'm free.
there you go. Yeah, have a few of those. You'll be having a great time. And
I'll be helicoptering my flannel.
that's right.
Yeah, Trump, JD Vance.
Should have had some of those in South Dakota. You'd had a great time.
Whip out my I
Uh,
love Usha t-shirt with the Indian elephant goddess behind him.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm really dispersing the insults today, huh?
Hey,
Indiana, Ohio. I
No,
got
nobody's safe today.
I
everyone's
got
Nobody's
catching
I
safe
some
got
today.
flack
Vivek.
today.
I told Charlie he's not as good at tech as Rob on avoiding Babylon. Good Lord. It's
Nobody's
like
safe
saying
today.
that's like saying Rob's more of a ladies' man. Anthony. How do you create a show where one guy's a rogue Italian, actual good Catholic, and the other guy's like a school marm who's trying to rein him in? That's the whole gist of the show, is it not?
I haven't listened to it. When's the last time you've listened to Avoiding Babylon?
Probably 6 weeks. How about you, Trevor? Have you seen it?
Trevor, you've been on there before, right?
I have. I've been on their episodes where they have Catholic trivia. So I don't think I've been on like an actual episode
Mm.
like conversation necessarily. So it's been a while. It's been probably a year and a half,
Yeah, Trevor's got to
something like
get
that.
it. Trevor, you just got to get a business card that says Trad Inc. after it, and then you'll be on.
Trad Inc. Yeah,
What a wild
yeah.
world! I can't believe I mean, like I'm listening. I listen to Stephen Cox and Barnhart 1,000 times more before. Although I have a contention with Dr. Mazza. Did you see that episode where he was on with Stephen Cox? Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it was fascinating because they had this back and forth because Cox is leaning more Sede. He has a book
Mm.
coming out about Vatican II and really the intentional and formal animus to tradition. So it rings a lot like Kennedy's book about that is Kennedy Hall's book about on modernism.
Yes.
And but much harder in terms of just source material. Even going into the Masonic ties and not just Bunini, but Roncalli as well, and a little bit of Montini in addition. But he said Dr. Mazza tries to walk this very precarious and thin line because he's a Benny-Plenist, and he wants to say that, well, the post-conciliar popes prior to Francis were not intentional formal heretics, so therefore they weren't heretics per se. But I don't know, and albeit I am a church historian, I'm a historian in general. I don't know where that distinction has been made in the past. So, for example, did Bellarmine say you have to be intentional in your heresy in order to be formed a heretic? That's I don't know where that is. I know it's I don't think it's Thomistic at all. It's not Augustinian, and so it's not in the church. So I don't know where this is coming from, other than a conciliar reconception of what constitutes culpability and sin, which is interesting because he's in a way excusing I wouldn't say excusing, but validating perhaps the conciliar modernistic look at pervasiveness or permissiveness of sin. Um, Whereas I just look at the etymology of heresy, right? It's just wrong opinion from the Greek. So, in other words, if I have a wrong opinion, that I would be declared a heretic, let's say on something of American patriotism. I'm certainly a heretic in American patriotism. But does if I wasn't intentional about my heresy, like I still wanted to declare myself a patriot, am I any less heretical vis-a-vis American patriotism? I don't think so, right? Now I get the
Yeah.
point where he's saying like, okay, you have to, for example, and this is classical church teaching that you have to understand that when you're committing a sin, there has to be not a modicum, but a sufficient understanding that you're pursuing that which you know is wrong, yes, or depraved or devoid of the good in
Yes.
Thomistic sense. And but that doesn't that might take away culpability, but when you get to the act per se, it's still sinful. So I think and Cox is like, he's with me. He's like, I don't know where is this distinction coming. You can be a material heretic. Is there any allowance in the past for a material heretic being the Pope? Now, Mazza would come back, and he does, and he says, look, we have instances where there's material heresy, Honorius and the like, or Liberius for a time. But then there's a retraction over time, or a correction conciliar in conciliar mode, or what have you, and then there's a recantation or what have you.
Mm.
Um, so why he's saying, I guess, the Francis qualifies as anti-pope and heretic is because it was persistent, it was formal, it was material, and thus it marks all of the requirements. I just think that Francis and Prevost are a softball. They're obviously heretical, but you have Assisi with John Paul II. You have Masonic ties to the pre or post conciliar popes and in conciliar popes. Sorry, I went off on a little rant there, but what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, whether the Pope's a heretic?
Yeah, I mean, what
Um, yeah.
is it? Do you believe that there should be like this very, I would say unestablished or non-established division between, well, material and formal heresy, and thus once you delve into the formal and persist in it, that's when you're a heretic.
Mm. Yeah, I think. I mean, I think that probably the distinction is well,
I'm
it would
getting
probably
Trevor. I'm getting in trouble. Yeah.
no, I mean, I think it'd probably be important. Let's just say if the distinction, if because I know a lot of people say, well, okay, if you're a heretic, okay, you might lose the office. I don't know. I need to do a little bit more research on it, but let's just say if that's the case, I don't know if there's a distinction even between that with that there's a material or formal component of it.
Mhm.
And so that someone says something and you could argue, well, it was accidental. Well, they didn't really know what they were saying. So
Right.
does that
Yes.
actually make a difference? So I think from that standpoint, it probably would make a difference, or maybe might make a
Mm.
difference.
Hmm.
So yeah, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it to have like a really strong
Yeah.
view on that in
Right.
particular. Not saying it just because I'll get in trouble or something, but just because just saying the truth. Like,
I have to
I've
study
thought a
more.
little bit about it, but I haven't thought. so much about it where I like have a really, really strong viewpoint on
Right.
it.
And I have to claim that in the past, I made an improper distinction vis-a-vis Vatican One, because I would say something along the lines of, well, as long as it's not ex cathedra or it's not pushed persistently as a kind of super ordinary magisterial teaching from the papal throne or from the Petrine See and authority, well, then it doesn't, it's not binding. But Vatican One doesn't say that. Vatican One is if it's ordinary magisterial teaching, it cannot be heresy, and he cannot hold the office.
Mhm.
So, as such, but yeah. So I was thankfully corrected both by Stephen Cox, and I hate to give credit to Chris Jackson because he's a jackass and he blocked me, but uh, that's you. I'll tell you what. You get these traditionalists like Chris Ferrara and Chris Jackson. Something with Chris. Sorry, Saint Christopher, Christ bearer. Um, you get them going on economics, and they're essentially communists.
Mm.
They're not even mild distributists. They are like all in. I believe that those two think that Chesterton's holiness is and Belloc's holiness is not from their personal piety or from their other teachings. It's because they embrace distributism so much. That's how I think bad their economics is.
Mm.
So anyway, uh,
Yeah, runs the gamut in the traditional space, that's for sure.
yeah,
The
yeah. Thank God
economics.
we have a greater intellect than Ferrara and Jackson in Tom Woods and Lou Rockwell and other good Catholics like Ryan McMakin at the Mises Institute can shut this stuff down.
Yes.
And your humble correspondent here, along with my sidekick, my the Batman to my Robin, Charlie Westerman. Or is he so hot he's my Catwoman, Selena Kyle. He's
No
available,
comment.
ladies. I'm telling you, he's out there.
Talk about
Buy him a Tridentine beer, and he's
Talk
like
about Mike Pence. This guy's gay. Is Gary Gary without the R.
Gary with no R.
He forgets the R sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
I dropped the R for Ness.
He sips his Perry the Platypus coffee.
Yeah, nothing says manliness like the Perry the
Yeah.
Platypus. Mike Pence has nothing on me. All right. So, okay, we have a lot to celebrate. I interrupted about the beer. What do you find? What kind of niche in your offerings is the beer gonna fill? In other words, it's coming out in the summer. Is it? It's a high ABV, so it's not necessarily a light beer. It's a red.
That's right.
Uh, so we're just anticipating that as we're trying to work out and compromise within our minds, being patriotic while that administration is operative, or all these terrible crimes that the government persists in, uh, well, carrying out. We need to celebrate. So let's just have as many reds as possible. Was that the niche?
Well, I think when we
Or are
kind
you
of
just
looked at
trying to
the
put the red into red, white, and blue?
hey, I think we do have some of our two more American patriotic beers. Have a lot more blue in label. So I mean, this one's going to fill the red aspect of it. But at least from a beer standpoint, what we had in the lineup already, um, we didn't. We're not at a point where we want to do another IPA yet. I know we got a lot of commentary that people like their Second Amendment New England IPA. We didn't really want to do that, so we're just like looking at where things are at in the spectrum, and we we had an excellent red. We hadn't done a style quite like that, and so we decided, yeah, let's go ahead and go in this direction. We wanted to be on the more anyway for most of our beers on the more maltier side and not so much on the hoppy side. So
Thank
this
God.
definitely fills a yeah, right. This fills more of a when you just look from that end of the beer spectrum, excluding the IPAs and what we had, whether it's from the really light, from like the Quartermaster Jerry to the really dark with Diaz Irae, we had kind of some in the middle. Of course, with Bonifast, our Meritzen, with Cristeros, so we had that kind of middle of the road already. Um, so the red kind of fits nicely in there. It's more of a higher ABV, a little bit different than what we've done before. So from a beer standpoint, it fit well there. Also, we know that it's excellent. So we're like, okay, great. This one's phenomenal. In fact, it was a beer that my dad, when we did it with our homebrew, My dad was questioning whether or not he loved that more than Dias Irae, and my dad
Wow.
loves
I
stouts.
remember this.
So
Yeah,
yeah, he's
because that was the one we
really good.
brew when we were in the homebrew.
He was talking it
Yeah,
up.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was excellent.
Trevor, can I pull up the art?
yeah, please.
Revealed here first, right, Trevor?
That's right. We haven't revealed it on social media or anything.
Wow.
And yeah, the artwork, of course, courtesy of Chris Lewis. Hey, here's a Chris you can like, Gary. Chris Lewis, Heritage
Absolutely.
Catholic.
Everything Chris does
Uh,
is fantastic.
yeah. So Chris did a phenomenal job
Redeeming
with
Christophers the
this.
world over.
That's right.
So,
So you can see we took a lot of inspiration from the homebrew artwork that you've got behind your shoulder, Gary, for that homebrew red IPA, and we had Chris really take it, run with that idea, kind of the Sacred Heart with obviously plenty of the flames because it's called Sacred Flame, of course, for Christ's love, and of course with the crown of circled by the crown of thorns with the lance. We also made sure we had a really nice visual representation of the Sacred Heart. And
mhm.
our can's gonna look a little bit different than this. This is kind of an abbreviated, marketing version that we've got here that you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah,
So there's a really nice on the left side of the can, what you see with the Sacred Heart there, and more of a full color version of the Sacred Heart. And so,
I love it.
when
It's so beautiful. The color and the vivid reds and golds, and then the black background or dark background, and then the motto Corezu Ardens. Is that the sort of the heart of Ardens is like the blast furnace, right? Or oven?
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, like the blast of love that flows from and heat that flows from the love of God to humanity.
yes, yeah, and you said it's way better than I could, Gary,
Oh.
with that because yeah, the Coriezu Ardens, it can be a little bit longer, and I think it's from
Mhm.
the litany of the Sacred Heart,
Right.
and but in older prayer cards they shortened it up, um, because I think there's like there's some additional verbiage there, but we can only fit so much in the labels. So I was like looking for what's something shorter that we could put on there, like Heart of Jesus on Fire, basically.
Yeah.
To your point is like what it means, and so we put that on there. 1675 is the year that our Lord appeared to St. Margaret Mary and asked. Now he appeared several years, of course, in the 1870 or 1670s, but 1675 was when he asked for the establishment of the Feast of the Sacred Heart, and
Mhm.
so we just put that out there on the label as well. So you might be wondering, how in the world did you like again come to the idea of like using the impressive, but then using the Sacred Flame name? And I told my dad when we were like thinking, well, what would we call it? What would we name this? Do we want to stay with impressive, or do something totally different? And I said, we really should just rebadge Sacred Flame as this beer for the commercial version because I think, isn't it that Jesus in one of his promises said that if you promote the Sacred Heart, then he'll write your name in his heart forever. And I said, that's what I want.
Mm.
That's what I want out of this.
Yes.
I
I want
want
to be
my
on that
name
roll
in the
call.
Sacred Heart forever. So
Yeah.
let's do this one. And all respect to servant of God Empress Zena, I'm sure she'll understand. She's
Of course.
fantastic. So we'll do that and promote the Sacred Heart. And the intention, of course, is to have it available longer than June. So we didn't put any explicit June references on here. We wanted to
Mm.
make sure we had it available for June this year. So
Yes.
it'll be available. It's going to be brewed, I believe, on Friday, May 8th, and it'll be available in stores at the end of May, towards the end of May. And so it'll be available for June. But we didn't put June on the label specifically because of our experience with Bonifest and just retailers in general. But if they view something as being seasonal,
Mm.
it doesn't matter if it sells well. They just tell you like, no, we don't want it anymore. We're not ordering it. It's seasonal. That's it. So like that happened with Bonifest in 75% of locations. It didn't
Wow.
matter that it was moving well. November 1st hit, boom, out. Like we're not ordering anymore. That's it. The
Mhm.
season's over for Oktoberfest. And
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
well,
That well, good lesson learned, and I guess that's sad for me, especially because Bonifest is my favorite. it's my number one. Uh,
Well, lucky for you, Gary, we still selling Bonifest at
mhm.
locations that will actually that are taking it. So
Yeah.
there is hope in being able to get some
Well, I plus
outside of
I got a
fall.
guy I know at the brewery, so I think I have,
That's right.
and I,
You always make a call, send a
yeah, big
text.
call. I have a guy. I have a guy. What the other thing to note? Well, first, I have to admit, I don't know if I've ever told Trevor this, but and my kids know this. I actually, because I love Tridentine beer so much, I got, and this is a great problem to have. I got a separate refrigerator just to hold it.
Whoa,
That's
okay.
how good the beer is. You have to get
Wow.
because there's not enough space. I got a separate refrigerator in my downstairs, in my basement, just to hold the Tridentine. Okay, so that's how good every offering is. Now, the second thing I want to say before Charlie chimes in, because he's been talking all night and then I can't get a word in, uh, is I love how Chris makes our Lord always look so determined and masculine, so determined and masculine, purposeful. There's always this if if he is our final end, he also emanates in his depiction, Chris's depiction of our Lord, this great telos, which is salvation of mankind, bringing fulfillment to all things, making all things new, as he says in Revelation. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and to that point, Gary, I completely agree. I mean, there's nothing more that I detest in a lot of at least sacred artwork than I guess the extreme feminization of our Lord in a lot of artwork. And maybe not a lot of artwork, but there's definitely a certain type of artwork where it's very clear and you're like, that kind of looks like Our Lady with a beard sometimes,
Mm,
And
yes.
you're like,
Mm.
like it's like so feminine. You're like, if the beard wasn't there, it might be Our Lady. And yeah, Chris does a really phenomenal job with kind of bringing out that masculinity, that manhood, that, as you said, that determination. So whenever I look at Chris's artwork, whenever he depicts Jesus, it looks at like that, and it's always amazing. So
Mhm.
I'm happy it turned out that way, of course, on the can as well.
I have a theory about not just, of course, it's obvious why there's this feminization because the church has become more feminized over time, and then this the way we or the way individuals within that, especially post-conciliar spirit, want to feminize everything. So you feminize depictions of our Lord and the saints. But I also think that it actually began much earlier with the feminization of the angels. So insofar as the angels are feminized, then you're just going to continue to reflect that up to your depictions of the Godhead. And that in and of itself is problematic. We talk a lot about, and it's always been a big part of my spirituality, and it was really inspired by Peter Kreeft when he wrote his Angels and Demons and Everything You Want to Know About Them book, and when he says, if you really want to get a truer sense of the extremes of rational existence in beings, that being God and man, the best way to understand is from the middle. And to understand angels gives you a better reflection of the Godhead and the mysterious ineffability of the Holy Trinity, but also puts you in proper ontological stance and reflection on man, what we ought and ought not be doing, who we are, what we ought to pursue, and what to avoid.
Yeah, I definitely agree there, Gary, with the angels. And
I gotta
yeah.
get an angelic brew.
Yeah, well, hey, who knows? Maybe we can do that. I know a little bit of a sidebar, but it goes in with the beer. We have a friend, another Catholic brewer who's out in Washington State. He runs a brewery called
Is he affiliated
Chainsaw
with
Brewing.
Chainsaw? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Chainsaw.
Mhm.
So he's done a whole lineup of angel beers. Like he did
Oh,
one of yeah. So sometime I'll see if I've got some. Next time you're over, I'll I'll try to see if I've got one and I can share it with you. But he's done IPA series of the different archangels and
yeah.
whatnot. And
Who's your favorite archangel of the three? I have a kind of curveball who I love more than the other two. It's hard to say I love them. I love him more, but I feel like this weird connection to one of them.
I mean it's
Come
kind
on,
of
I'm
just the
putting you on the hot
generic.
seat.
I
It's not like they're
mean, the
not going to
generic
know.
ones,
They're listening in right
is
now.
Michael. But yeah, I mean, between Raphael and Gabriel. Oh man, I I don't know, Gary. I'm interested on
I'm gonna
your
put
thoughts on
I'm
that.
gonna bounce it to Charlie first because I want to hear what he says. Say number three.
Michael, but I think you're gonna go Raphael. I think
Yeah,
that's your Zag.
yeah, that's my Zag. If you read Tobit, that he just comes through as the most incredible angel slash obviously he takes on a human form in order to drive out demons and accompany Tobias along his way in saving Sarah and their lives. And then it's just this spectacular display of powerful humility and meekness and carrying out God's will. And all the way you get the sense because Tobit always says, "Oh wow, you have to our kinsfolk. He's our kinsfolk." He doesn't even, but he says Raphael's his kinsfolk, but it's like, well, where is he from? You would think you would know, right? But he names him as such anyway. And then he just seems like and his name means, of course, God heals. So he just repairs all of their relationships, and he does so by pointing to the divine, to the grace that is the salve, is the balm, is the cure, and their faithfulness and their appreciation of him it's so fun. It's almost as if Raphael, and I think Raphael was probably the most stylish of the angels to appear in human form because he has this kind of like a flair for the dramatic but humble. So yeah, he's just he strikes me as pretty dynamic in heaven. Plus, he's like he tells Tobias to take the fish gall out and make a make a medicine. And Tobias goes, "Yeah, okay, cool. I guess I have to do that." And he's rewarded by having a super hot wife as a result, and virtuous and one who was constantly uh her previous engagees or to the men to whom she was betrothed all died because there was this demon following her around. That's tough. That's a tough life.
Wow.
It's a
Really
great book.
it seems like Gen Z needs to take a page out of that book and get some more fish gall, right? And
Yeah,
start.
nothing like some fish gall to drive the demons away.
That's
It's
right.
amazing.
Do that, more marriages and,
Yeah,
all the dating crisis. Yeah.
fish gall ale for
That's
those
right.
single people out there. New from Tridentine Brew. Yeah, that'd be funny. I don't know if that would sell so much.
I don't think so. I don't think
Nah,
so.
nah, fish
But
gall ale.
yeah, just to wrap up the point with Chainsaw is
Mm,
that
yes.
they're also so they're he's brewing the beer as well at the same time. Um, and with another Catholic brewery out in Washington State called Shorthead Brewing. So the idea here was like, let's just get a whole bunch of as many Catholic breweries as we can find right now, and maybe we can like
Mm,
add some as this goes on years. We can just add more breweries and like share the artwork, the recipe, or just kind of what we're doing. So it's a collaboration beer between like Catholic breweries, just to
that's great.
get devotion to the Sacred Heart out there. So like you've got on the tacker behind you, that was a collaboration beer. It's the same. It's gonna be collaboration beer. It is a collaboration beer, and so we'll see. Hopefully, again, we can tack even more breweries on around the country and reach more people.
Yeah, there's no excuse for these Catholic organizations that have to buy beer, for their activities to deviate from the Catholic brewers. That's a big thing. And especially we're gifted to have the best of all of them here in Illinois with us and available to us in the greater Midwest now. So that's a great grace afforded to us by God. And all thanks to the work of Jeff and Trevor and everyone at Tridentine, your brother included. So
Oh yes. Well,
yeah.
thank you, Gary.
So, uh, are we ready to talk about a town that, well, they're lukewarm about saintly inspired beer?
Let's talk about a town that'll be celebrating the month of June for a separate
Oh
reason
boy.
besides
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Hmm.
Here it is.
Meanwhile in Oak Park.
We go to your gay suburb now.
The People segment, Meanwhile in Oak Park, brought to you
You
by
guessed it.
Tridentine
This
Brewing.
guy.
There we go.
This
I love
guy.
it. We've got a good. They came through. I don't know if they knew that Trevor was going to be on.
So they're
We've got,
formal Oak Parkers. They're
we,
actual formal and material Oak Parkers.
we've got some good. We've got some good Oak Park out of these last few weeks. Oak Park voters reject putting Israel boycott question on the fall ballot.
Uh-oh. The two synagogues came out. You can tell that it came in.
Measure that would have put question concerning boycotts to Israel on November ballot in Oak Park fails at annual town meeting. Oak Park residents cast ballots at the township's annual town meeting. So we just gotta get out there and vote. Look at this guy. You see this guy?
That guy's so Jewish he knows the outcome already. Talking about putting your finger on this your withered finger on the scales.
Oak Park
Oh,
voters.
Vey, look at that vote.
Oak Park voters overwhelmingly rejected a measure that would have posed a question about boycotts to Israel to local voters on this November's ballot. Oak Park Township held its annual town meeting at Percy Julian Middle School's cafeteria Tuesday, April 28th. The question on this year's meeting agenda was, quote, do you support the right of individuals and organizations, including state contractors, to boycott, divest, and sanction Israel? If the vote had passed, the question would have gone onto the midterm ballot for Oak Park voters in November's election, which Oak Park would still have zero effect on the actual relations of America and Israel. But
the grinding efficiency of democracy.
It's worth a vote. Nearly 500 Oak Park residents came out to vote at the annual meeting, with 352 voting against the measure and 134 voting in favor of it. The measure was put on the meeting agenda after a local petition received 26 signatures.
That's a really high bar.
Yes. So Trevor, this is an interesting, I believe it's either 24 or 26, but you only need in the 20s of signatures to get a petition put onto the meeting agenda with the potential of it being voted on.
That's crazy.
So if you have any ideas, we've been brainstorming these last few weeks.
I got a petition for Oak Park. Fill one pothole in the town. Just one.
You got to get 26.
Let's not get crazy. Just one pothole in the entire town.
Yeah,
would be great.
I actually have experience getting something on a ballot in my town.
Oh, Trevor pulling the local government card on us.
Nice.
Yeah,
Did you just pull that
out? So I did. It was a big. Sorry, I'm deviating from this a little bit.
But please.
At the very end of my term, there came up a vote for just video gambling in the town. So there was an older ordinance that they repealed, and I was against it. And part of the reason, I mean, I said at the meetings, hey, if you guys want this so much, then get rid of the tax part. Like
there you go.
Now, like you're just doing this for the revenue. You're saying it's for freedom. It's like it's really not good here. Now I know it sounds really quaint now with everything that's going on with the just internet gambling for absolutely everything. But at the time it was it was 2013, I think.
Yes.
And so the Illinois legislature, when they passed this law saying that towns could allow it, said, well, you could also have a referendum on it. And you could get it on the ballot as a referendum. So I told the board, like, you pass this, then I'm going to get on the ballot. And but the threshold, sorry, I'm getting to the point, which is the 24 or 26 signatures that we were talking about. I had to get 20% of people that voted in the last election.
Oh, wow.
So it ended up being like 250 signatures or something like that in my small town that I needed to get of registered voters to get it on the ballot. So it's kind of funny that you only need, like, for the question to come up, 25 signatures.
That's half an apartment complex in Oak Park.
Yeah, that'd have been easy. Yeah.
Stay inside.
No problem.
Just stay inside. Don't need to go out in the January cold to go get that petition signed. Just, yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, I'm sorry, Charlie. I totally cut you off there.
Absolutely not. This is the fun part about having guests that you also sponsor the segment, so we kind of
this is
we kind of have to hear it out, Trevor. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Oh no, there goes Trevor threatening to pull funding.
Hostage during this.
Yeah. It's like we're the Daily Wire in APAC.
Yeah. The local petition.
Wait, I want to tell a story. Sorry. Hersher, or sorry, Herschel. We can't let you on.
The local petition came as the Illinois legislature considers repealing a 2015 law banning state pension funds from being invested in companies that divest from or boycott Israel. The same question was on the agenda for several other townships around the state. Votes on the same question passed earlier this month in the townships of Cunningham, Peoria, Kickapoo, Medina, DuPage, and Normal, but failed in Capital and Wheatland townships, according to progressive news blog Let's Address Illinois.
Subscriber. I admit I'm a subscriber.
The meeting was held this week at the middle school after attendance at a previously scheduled meeting on April 14th at the Oak Park Library's Dole branch quadrupled the meeting room's capacity
to 20.
The vast majority of voters at the meeting had already cast their ballots before the discussion was held, with the township allowing people to vote at the start of the meeting since the cafeteria also didn't have capacity to accommodate the hundreds who'd come out to vote. Okay, they meant to say since the school cafeteria, but they said since the school, the cafeteria. After most
the cafeteria, the gymnasium.
After most attendees cast their ballots and left, Township Trustee Juan Munoz moderated the discussion portion, giving equal time to both sides. Munoz was detained by ICE inside the Broadview ICE Detention Center during a protest at the facility last fall, and he began the discussion by referencing the community support he'd received in the wake of his arrest.
Wait, what does this have to do with the Israel defunding thing? Let's talk about no transition.
They moderated this is the guy that moderated the discussion, and he's trying to say that community support he received. He was basically referencing, I received community support during this. This is what's important about community support, I guess.
Okay, so we're talking about divesting a genocidal Zionist.
Yeah, he's talking about civic spirit coming out.
Yeah, let's bring this back to me. I was detained. Okay.
Quote, some of these instances were deeply troubling, but the response from the community was also deeply moving. He said, tonight is a reflection of that same civic spirit. There you go.
Celebrate each other.
Munoz told Wednesday Journal he felt that the discussion at the meeting remained largely respectful, despite the palpable emotion that shone through in residents' testimonies. He said it was important for him to reference his experience as the only Chicagoland elected official to have been detained inside the Broadview detention facility amid the DHS's Operation Midway Blitz to remind people at the meeting of the responsibilities they shared as neighbors. Quote, we really are neighbors in that room yesterday, today, tomorrow. We're going to continue to be neighbors. So the way that we engage each other in the room is in that context, he said. Knowing how the community has responded to other issues and my own personal issues, here we go, and what I went through, the level of support that I received, I wanted to highlight the positive responses that come in times that are difficult and how capable we are of responding in that way.
And then someone stood up and said, are we going to let Israel still kill the sand people or not? Let's vote.
The discussion was intense and emotional at times, with residents on both sides referencing the experiences of family members living on one side of the partition between Israel and Gaza and the West Bank.
Don't you get the sense of reading it? They finally, this Munoz guy broke into, of course, suck the air out of the room with all of his ego. And then everyone's like, all right, now let's get back to the actual matter at hand so this guy can finally sit down.
Attendees in opposition to putting the question on the fall ballot said the question was improperly worded since it doesn't directly reference the 2015 state law, that approving it would needlessly divide Oak Park and even stoke anti-Semitism.
Ooh.
Michael Zamora, an Israeli Oak Parker who said he's previously worked on USAID-funded peace projects connecting Palestinian, Lebanese, Jordanian, and Israeli educator and youth, criticized the measure, saying that the question was misleading. Practically speaking, this is quote, the resolution in front of us is also misinformation.
Ooh.
He said, no individual's First Amendment right to boycott the state of Israel is currently infringed. The campaigners behind the statewide effort know that and have worded it to intentionally confuse the issue they actually care about. The reversal of an anti-BDS bill that passed unanimously in 2015, which covers pension fund investments and the choice of companies they may invest in. But a question about pension fund investment management choices would not draw the numbers at the polls. So here we are.
And then he invited everyone out for ice cream at Peterson's using his 7,000 shekels he got from the Mossad. It was a glorious night.
Dima Khalidi, a Palestinian Oak Parker and local First Amendment lawyer, said international economic pressure on Israel is essential to ending the war and that the Illinois anti-boycotting law violates freedom of speech.
Oh, how about that? Some sensibility and reason.
Quote, voting no is telling me as a Palestinian that I shouldn't be allowed to demand accountability and equal rights for my people, and I reject that, she said. Israel is the only country that we are told we're not allowing to boycott. But it doesn't stop there because now states are copying those bills and passing laws that say we can't avoid top fossil fuel companies or arms companies or companies that don't allow gender affirming care.
Uh,
This is a slippery slope.
they found the gender affirming care Palestinian.
Oh my gosh.
They found the one. Really? Hey babe, you've been in Oak Park too long.
It's now been 2.5 years since the war in Gaza began, while a fragile U.S. brokered ceasefire has been in place since last October. More than 71,000 Palestinians were killed between October 7th, 2023 and January 28th of this year, according to Gaza's Ministry of Health. The majority of those casualties are believed to be civilians, according to Doctors Without Borders. Around 2,000 Israelis have been killed since the start of the war, according to Tel Aviv University's Institute for National Security Studies. Most of that death toll comes from civilian casualties from Hamas' October 7th, 2023
False
attacks.
flag, false flag, false flag, false flag. And the Hannibal Directive killed 90% of those people. Mm. But amazing. Yeah, only in Oak Park could you find the one gender affirming care Palestinian woman, right? She's wearing her kifa while arguing for hormonal treatments for prepubescent kids. Yes, because you know that in Iran and southern Lebanon, among the Shia population, that there's a huge wave to get all gender affirming care because nothing allows a child to recover from having their limbs blown off by the IDF more than the ability to transition from one gender to another. But let's go ahead and have the debate that and we'll just make it as passionate as possible on local level about whether we can or should allow other individuals not to conduct business with a regime they find to be murderous and genocidal. That's the issue.
Well, I'm just glad that they found the one person who, was at the top of the hierarchy of suffering and victimhood. Definitely beat out all the Jews in the article. They're she's way up there. I'm just wondering if she also was maybe disabled or transsexual herself. I know she was promoting those things too, but
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
Yeah.
See how high she is on the pyramid.
Yeah, exactly. That's misogynistic. A pyramid is clearly a phallic reference. So
OPRF placed on hold after 3 fights during lunch period.
we're talking to a guy who was every time I advocate for homeschool, I think of Trevor because this guy is just one of the brightest men I've had the pleasure of meeting, one of the most gracious and virtuous, and homeschooled. And I think every time I'm like, oh my gosh, the ills that and the trials and tribulations that you were saved because your parents made the wise decision to homeschool. I mean, look what you're missing, or you missed.
So many great things. And Gary, would if I ever I need a pick me up, I know where to go. Hot Water History Podcast.
And
If I feel
just
bad one day, I'm going to come here so you can tell me how great I am.
right. And for those wondering, compliments do translate into free beer. So I
That is
send
true.
them
But
out pretty quickly.
Gary is very wise.
Yeah,
Very wise.
that's it. Now I can't give you anything, Trevor. I don't brew beer. I'll just do with the compliments. All right, Charlie.
There were multiple fights around lunchtime on April 30th at Oak Park and River Forest High School, which resulted in the school being placed in a hold where students and teachers stay in whatever classroom they are in for 43 minutes. Oak Park police were called, but once officers arrived, they were told their services were no longer needed. Quote, the Oak Park Police Department was called to OPRF High School on the morning of April 30th for a large fight that resulted in school administrators placing the school on a lockdown at the time, said Dan Yapchik, Oak Park's spokesperson, in an email. Upon arrival, however, school administrators stated to OPPD that they did not want any police services and that the incident would be handled internally. No additional information was provided to OPPD. In messages to teachers and parents, OPRF officials referred to what happened as a disturbance. Quote, the hold that was activated during fifth period was in response to several incidents that occurred in the South Cafeteria and Student Activity Center, said the message that was sent to parents on April 30th by Olivia Schreiner of the school's communications team.
So this is the equivalent of the very peaceful protesters while the buildings are on fire. Largely peaceful protests. It was just a disturbance. I'm sorry, I'm disturbed.
The email was forwarded to Wednesday Journal. Quote, there was a disturbance in the South Cafeteria during the fourth period. During the passing period, the incident flared again in the Student Activities Center, causing us to initiate a hold. Quote, a separate and unrelated disturbance occurred during fifth period in the South Cafeteria while we were still working to manage the original incident. This prolonged the time of the hold significantly. Karen Sullivan, the school's spokesperson, said 11 students were involved in the disturbances and that they will receive consequences aligned with the school's behavior education plan.
Which means a sternly worded letter to their parole officers.
Last one. What I believe.
Oh, here we go. Hey, Trevor, have you seen the ones where we do the letters to the editor? These are like the gold frosting on top of an otherwise delicious cupcake that is the segment. I mean, I just love these. And they're all these Oak Parkers who are taking time to actually write into the Wednesday Journal and think that they're saying something so eloquently insightful that it's just people are hanging on their every word. I love it.
I have heard it from the segment here before, but it is funny when you get like the really based guy who,
Oh yeah, we did have
that dude, like, yeah, he might be like kind of like a boomer con Fox News guy, but like he'll still get on. It's like, yeah,
I know,
all right.
I know. That's where I'm like, Fox News guy. I like this guy. I'll tell you what. At least he's bucking trends,
Yeah, hey,
right?
you gotta love it at least. Yeah, he's giving it some effort.
And he put his name down. I mean, it can't be very popular in his block of Oak Park. Hell on earth.
So this is during a recent ceremony at Unity Temple. Two 15-year-old members of the coming of age portion of Unity's religious education program delivered their personal creed. An exercise inspired by the long-running, quote, this I believe radio broadcast. I actually have my catechism class do the same thing.
Really?
No.
It's
A personal creed?
Lord.
Whoa, Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie. Ulrich Zwingli at Our Lady of Perpetual Help.
The program's coming of age facilitator is Amy Markley. We thought our readers would enjoy hearing some of what's on the minds of our community's 15-year-olds these days.
Oh, great.
This gets good. This first one's Paul Gage.
Are we okay? We do reserve the right of making fun of adolescents here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll allow it.
We're gonna feel a little like Ben Shapiro, but the Catholic version of Ben Shapiro.
I think you're gonna feel more bad than angry, though.
Oh shoot! I was ready to get angry.
Paul Gage says, I believe that we define who we are as human beings through our actions and our inactions. I do not believe in the idea.
That boy Socrates already.
I do not believe in the idea of an almighty universal God,
Oh,
lowercase g, who has foreseen everything because I have seen no evidence to believe such a thing.
okay. Well, he's definitely a Unitarian then.
I believe that when people are born, they start with a blank page in a long book that is filled by their actions as they move through life.
Ooh.
Some people's surroundings may be far more yielding than others.
If I keep listening to this, I don't know if this kid's transitioning, but I might transition.
Some people might be born into poverty while some might be born into royalty. But I believe that it is possible for every person to help themselves try and be successful and achieve great things in their life.
I will almost guarantee you that this was an essay that they had to offer in school because this smacks of every 15-year-old self-reflective essay I've ever read. And one of my pet peeves on all of them, and they would do this in history papers when I read it. Even the college students would do this. It's like they all think they're Charles Dickens. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And so they'll just make innocuous statements that you can't contradict because they're just obvious, but they're also absurd at the same time. So all you could do is take them off and then I would just take a red pen and just cross it all out. Just omit. I don't care. I don't care. You're not Charles Dickens. So please make an argument here, kid. So I was mean.
Some people consider the future to be a certain thing. Perhaps what you will do and have done has always been predetermined and set. I do not believe this. I believe the future is more of a branch of threads. When you say something or do something, some paths may become faded, some new ones may open up, and some may close forever. During my own life, I have seen how my actions have influenced my future. In sixth grade, I chose to take speech slash drama slash debate as an elective, and this has led to gaining much more confidence. And if I had not taken this class, I would have lost a lot of opportunities that I gained through taking the class. That's how opportunity cost. Yeah, that's how that works. And if I hadn't taken it, I probably wouldn't be speaking to you now. This choice that seemed small to me then altered the course of my future. The point I'm making is I do not believe that people's fate is predetermined at all. I believe that destiny is a story that everyone writes for themselves. I
And it's
believe that
not
if
destiny.
I believe that if people tirelessly work and learn and strive, they can help influence their own future and help themselves be successful.
Oh, good. Talk about wanting to vomit. Harrison
Oh, I got it.
Sneeden.
I've got a great sentence coming up, Rich, that you basically just said. Harrison, what you, so this is the second kid, Harrison. What you believe is only half of what matters in life. The other half is how you came to those beliefs. I have not solidified my beliefs yet. And so what I have right now is the journey I am taking in order
Oh,
to figure out my personal truth. I do not believe that there is any sort of God, lowercase g. I also do not believe in souls. And I do not believe in heaven, hell, or other forms of afterlife.
he just said he doesn't believe anything. And now he has all these affirmative beliefs.
No, he says, I do not believe in souls and I do
I
not
know,
believe
but
in.
he said before I haven't solidified my beliefs yet.
Oh, this is the worst. Hold on.
Then then it's followed by several assertions, right? Oh,
So,
so
what do I believe?
okay.
I believe in people. The summer after sixth grade, the summer after sixth grade, I went to Marwood, a summer camp that you may or may not know about.
I told you these are just innocuous. They're innocuous, but criminally stupid observations. You may know of it, or you may not.
The idea of Marwood is that the campers and counselors all provide unconditional love for each other.
That sounds criminal.
At Marwood, I learned that what I value the most is being cared about and caring for others. In a world without God, we have each other. I believe that even if I don't know what meaning there is in life or the universe, I can still appreciate the presence of other people.
Hey, Harrison, why do you appreciate the presence of other people? There's never a why.
The moments where I learn the most about life are the fleeting sunsets, the unwilling goodbyes, and the times that a cherished memory I am forgetting resurfaces.
Oh man, he did it. I'm fully female now.
We do not
I've
appreciate
gone by osmosis.
we do not appreciate the things we always have, and my journey to accept that will never end. But I can still grow on my way to that unachievable point, and I believe that is the most important thing of all. I feel bad for them publishing these kids.
Oh, you know that they have it on there. They have this article on their bulletin boards at home and their refrigerator. Harrison, we're so proud of you. We don't know really what that constitutes since there's no God and there's no origin of being and there's no end telos or final cause of anything. And we haven't solidified our beliefs about this. But as long as you believe in people, you go be your Unitarian self. Unbelievable. And he said my favorite word twice, journey.
Oh, you love Journey.
I hate that word with a passion. Uh, and ever since it was God bless you, Father Gambro, OP at Fenwick, you know, sophomore theology always come in. If any person comes up to you and says they want to share with you their journey, that person is a sicko. Okay? There's something wrong with that person. No one cares about your journey. He always goes, no one cares about your journey. I'm going here. I'm going there. Journey. Terrible. We're on life's journey. What the hell does that mean? Yeah. God bless you, Father Gambro. So, uh, commentary. How are you feeling? Are you feeling as feminine as I am right now? I mean, there's estrogen just it's in the ether around me.
Oh yeah, I'm learning why that there's no Unitarians left anymore after that.
Yeah, hey, by the way, Unity Temple designed by Frank Lloyd Wright.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Oh,
Yeah. Another another Masonic Satanist. So yeah, they're making what was it, Paul and Harrison? I mean, how many Unitarians did they even speak to? The like four people, four boomer Unitarians and the janitor. I mean,
that's I'm wondering. Like there can't
yeah,
really. I mean, with a view like that, I guess it makes not doesn't make sense for a 15-year-old, but okay, they're dumb. I mean, obviously, a lot of people say dumb their whole life, but I mean, like I think at a certain point you got to be like, yeah, like why am I going to this Unitarian church or whatever? Like I'm just done. Like I'm done with it all, and just move on.
yeah. What I find to Charlie's point so depressing about that is they've been trained to stop finding meaning in life,
Yeah.
and they've actually gained their self-worth or kind of perspective of themselves as buying into the bullshit that their Unitarian elders and parents said that just be nihilistic, and that's a value unto itself. Don't be pinned down by labels and identifications or anything like that. That's for the inferior. Yeah. So there's a haughtiness about espousing nothing, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny because Sartre as a nihilist existentialist, he wrote La Nausée, which means nausea. So he was made nauseous by his search for meaning. That at least that's the characters or the protagonist's perspective in the book, and that reading that is it's a real arduous task. But at least he feels something. These kids don't feel anything. They're inoculated against feeling or having. And notice how there's just an absolute lack of passion, right? So I remember
Yeah.
when well, at least I'm older than both of you, so kind of Trevor's in between our ages. But I remember, and I think probably Trevor remembers more of a time where everyone was more concerned, and maybe it was because of Tipper Gore and censorship. Like, oh, teenagers are always so passionate. They're hormonally directed here and there, and they have super high justice quotients, and they're all zealous for things, right?
Yeah.
All the while, what we should have been afraid of is the evisceration of zeal and meaning. That's the
Mm.
real crime that one can perpetrate against an adolescent is to remove that imagination and zeal for finding meaning and truly identifying with things that are it's not bad to identify and label yourself a good holy traditional Roman Catholic, for example. But and that's in and of itself the most countercultural thing you can do. So go for it, right? Be the
Yeah.
rebel, but to take that out and then just making cookie cutter adolescence is the real crime.
I'd rather have someone who's passionate about something and be wrong than someone who, yeah, just
Yeah,
doesn't really care less or has really, yeah, just like blah, like
yeah.
whatever.
Revelation 3:13, man. Spit them out of my mouth. A milk toast. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of you can move a passion, you can redirect it um, in the Pauline sense of moving away from sin, like the archer does, recalibrating and then shooting toward the target. But if you don't have any inclination to even pick up the bow and arrow, what are you left with? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sad. May it never befall us, right? Or anyone who we love.
Amen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amen.
Is that a segment, Charlie?
That's the people segment.
Meanwhile in Oak Park.
What would have happened if I'd gone for it and just said, no, I'm gay? Meanwhile,
Sponsored by.
Tridentine Brewing.
Okay, right there. There he is. Throwing out beers and new ideas and all the stuff he does.
Yeah.
Procreating.
That's right.
Yeah.
Alcorn Maxing.
Alcorn. Yeah. The
Alcorn
more Alcorns there are in
Maxing.
the world, that's Saint Teresa of Calcutta has that great quote saying that there are too many children is like saying there's too many flowers. Yeah. Alcorns especially. Yeah. Making the world a better place. One little Trevor and Caitlin at a time.
That's right.
That's right.
Who cares about looks maxing? Just Elkhorn max, beer maxing, and procreation maxing.
But if you beer max enough, everybody looks good. See?
Yeah, problem solved.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I can't thank you enough for being on for now the fourth time. What a, I don't know if it's a badge of honor or something you want to truly not share with anyone, but
Oh, we're sharing it. We're sharing it, Gary. Oh
amen.
yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I'm very happy to be on for the fourth time, and yeah, who knows? Maybe someday I'll be on for a fifth time. Maybe that day will come around, and I really
God willing.
appreciate you guys having me on again, and yeah, looking forward to sharing a Sacred Flame Imperial Red Ale with you sometime. Hopefully,
Yeah,
the next few months.
I can't wait. Thanks so much, Trevor. We had a blast.
Thank you, Gary. Thanks,
Peace.
Charlie.
Peace,
Peace.
Trevor.